Time next for the business news with Kate Moody. Good evening, Kate.
Hi, Delano.
Kate, starting out with that bloodbath we saw on Wall Street today.
It's been an extraordinary session in an extraordinary week for global stock markets, Delano. At the opening bell of Wall Street, a circuit breaker kicked in, essentially pausing trade for 15 minutes to allow investors a chance to catch their breath. It's the second time that's happened this week and only the third time ever. As you can see, though, it couldn't stop the downward spiral. 10% losses across the board there in New York. The Dow Jones with its worst ever point loss in a single session. It's the worst percentage decline since 1987 for both the Dow and S&P 500. Wall Street is officially now in a bear market as all sectors dropped from gold to oil to treasuries. Travel stocks among the worst hit. Shares of Delta and United Airlines dropping 21 and 25% respectively. It was a similar story in Europe. The CAC 40 in Paris with its worst ever session, down about 12% along with the DAX. London's FTSE 100 dropped 10% and stocks in Milan plummeted 17%. Investors were reacting to the U.S. travel ban, but also the underwhelming announcement of stimulus but no rate cut from the European Central Bank, as well as the general sense of panic that is really starting to set in for investors. More and more analysts warning of a global recession and saying that fiscal rather than monetary policy is the best remedy both to cushion economies and to calm the markets. So, just what did the ECB announce and why was it so disappointing? Brian Quinn has the details.
The European Central Bank taking action Thursday as President Christine Lagarde called COVID-19 a major shock to the global and European economies.
Even if ultimately temporary by nature, it will have a significant impact on economic activity. In particular, it will slow down production as a result of disrupted supply chains and reduce domestic and foreign demand.
Among the new stimulus measures announced, an additional 120 billion euros in corporate bond purchases for 2020 under the bank's quantitative easing program, on top of the 20 billion per month in ongoing QE stimulus. Also, a new program of negative interest loans to banks aimed at keeping credit flowing to small businesses, and an easing of capital requirements. The announcement a positive surprise for the banking sector, but underwhelming for investors, since what the plan did not include was an interest rate cut, a tacit acknowledgement that rates are already as low as they can go. The ECB's main deposit rate is currently at negative 0.5%. Most economists say monetary policy, which stimulates demand, is ill-equipped to address the supply shock caused by the virus. Markets, though, had been hoping for a rate cut all the same, after emergency cuts from both the U.S. Federal Reserve and the Bank of England in recent days. Lagarde also called for a major boost in government spending stimulus, criticizing what she called the complacency of EU governments in tackling the economic crisis.
Well, meanwhile, here in France, people are stocking up on food and other supplies as they prepare for possible lockdowns. Many, though, are looking for ways to avoid crowded supermarkets, and they're turning to online shopping and drive-through options. Monty Francis reports.
Wanting to avoid crowded aisles at the supermarket and long checkout lines, the outbreak of COVID-19 has many French people looking for alternatives, like this customer who came to a drive-through supermarket for the very first time.
We can get the virus anywhere, and it's true we don't know a lot, so it's a bit scary.
In 2 weeks, the number of customers at the drive-through market has exploded. The manager has never seen anything like it.
We've had an increase of 30 to 40% in orders. In terms of products that are the most popular, pasta, rice, flour, sugar, people are buying those kinds of staples.
During the week ending on March 1st, sales of rice in France were up by 50%, pasta by 45%. Sugar was up by 21% and coffee by 14%. The behavior of consumers has radically changed all over the country since the outbreak. Drive-through markets have seen a 13% increase in business compared to the same week last year, and there's been an increase of 74% for home delivery services of groceries. As a result, orders for those in the supply chain are up.
In comparison to last year, our volume is up by 33% for the first part of March. Our revenue is up by more than 50%, and we have a lot of new customers.
Consumers are buying more and in different ways. During the end of February and into March, overall, the grocery industry in France has seen a 6% increase in revenue in comparison to last year.
Okay, one of the many side effects of what is an ongoing pandemic.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Kate. Kate Moody there with today's business news.